Thanks, Colin, and thanks for the warm welcome. Firstly, I'd like to extend my congratulations and thanks to the outgoing chair, Lorna, for her work. Thank you. And indeed, for all she delivered during her tenure. It was the strangest of times, and she had the pandemic to deal with, and together with Una and the team, they delivered in very difficult circumstances. So thank you so much. I'm delighted to be taking up the mantle as chairperson of Technology Ireland. I've been a member of the board for quite some time, and I've always had a deep and passionate belief in Ireland's potential to achieve. We are an island nation that has achieved well beyond the imagination of our founders who met in this room just over 100 years ago. And while success has many parents, it's fair to say that our predecessors at this event 30 years ago played no small part in delivering the Ireland of today. It was the policies that they advocated for that helped people like myself and others establish Irish technology companies which trade all over the globe today. In my capacity as CEO and co-founder of ThinScale Technology, I have walked and continue to walk the journey that many of my fellow entrepreneurs here this evening do. I understand all too well the challenges, the frustrations, and I also know the opportunities that are open to us. But I'm not myopic in my view. ThinScale's top 10 customers together employ over 1.2 million people globally. Their own client base accounts among many of them, if not all of the FDIs represented here tonight. So our goals and ambitions intersect very closely. As Chair of Technology Ireland, I will champion our Indigenous innovation-led companies as they strive for global reach and indeed at times local recognition. I will champion the continued promotion of our FDI companies and the monumental contributions that they make to Ireland Inc. I will also champion the embracing of remote and hybrid work on a national and European level. I will advocate for the infrastructure needed at all levels to ensure we are positioned to take advantage of the workplace revolution and the socio-economic and socio-cultural benefits that can flow from that. I will take a proactive and perhaps an even unguarded approach. I've never been one to be shy of controversy where it's needed and indeed to further collective aims. And I kind of half expect to be invited to a lunch in 6 months' time and handed a little clock for the mantle, or as somebody else put it tonight, a clock on the head. But anyway, all of that is to say I recognise the importance of this role, its potential impact as typified by my predecessor's tenure and the seriousness of the work ahead for Technology Ireland. And with that in mind, it's my privilege to speak tonight about Technology Ireland's Agenda 30 for 30. In support of our stated mission, making Ireland a global technology powerhouse. These are 30 distinct objectives that will lay the foundations for the next 30 years of the Irish technology sector. But reflecting on the growth of Ireland Inc., it struck me that success leaves a lot of clues. The legacy of the early tech pioneers to these shores, starting with Apple and Dell and many others afterwards and those who have followed, has been measured not only in their contribution to the economy, but in the cultivation of skills and entrepreneurship. They fostered in us as a nation discipline, operational excellence, and perhaps most importantly, global ambitions. This legacy is felt throughout so many of our homegrown technology companies here this evening, including my own. So it is not and never should be a case of FDIs being pitted against our Indigenous companies, as sometimes the press like to do. The relationship is symbiotic, and the sharing and cross-pollination of talent and ideas must be developed even further. But there are imbalances in how they are perceived and in how the policies affect them, and these must be addressed. And I believe now is the time for Ireland Inc. and policymakers to have the same level of confidence and belief in our own companies as it does in our FDI counterparts. Now is the time for the voice of Irish innovation-led businesses to be heard louder. As we look towards the next 30 years, let's not close our eyes to the reality that we have entered an era of extreme uncertainty as we have emerged from this pandemic. It will be marked by black swan events, conflict and crisis, and fluctuating monetary policies. As an industry, We have had to take some very tough decisions over the last couple of weeks, and there are more to come as the economic situation unfolds. How we take those decisions and implement them is critically important, not least because of how it impacts people's lives. As an industry, we have a strong reputation, and we cannot allow this reputation to be damaged by a minority. We ought to hold each other to the highest standards. By the same token, I believe there is more we can do to spotlight the positive contribution that we make to Ireland as a country and as an economy. A crucial component of the 30 for 30 plan is to create the environment for the next-gen workforce. As leaders, we have a responsibility to listen to our employees and understand the economic and social realities they face in their lives. And that means leaning into the infinite workplace revolution. That means providing the infrastructure needed for employees to work where they want, but also where they can afford. Policymakers have taken steps in this direction, but there is much more to be done to amend, enshrine, and protect these principles. There is also, I believe, a responsibility to extend the prosperity of our technology sector to all corners of the country. Our North Star is making Ireland a global tech powerhouse, not just Dublin. And I know that as a proud Galwegian, this is something that my predecessor, Lorna, was a strong advocate of. The famous decentralisation and rural regeneration policies implemented, and not implemented, as the case may be, over the years, have taken us some of the way. But foregrounding remote and hybrid work will enable us to actually achieve the policy objectives of these previous endeavours. In certain respects, the 30 for 30 programme is also about us as a country getting out of our own way. This is another imbalance. As a country, public investment has not matched private investment. As a country, our operational capacity has been outstripped by the growth and the pace of growth of the technology and private sector and all that it's brought with it. And this has limited our ability as a state to react to global and national changes at pace. And so, for example, one of our 30 initiatives is to advocate strongly for a housing policy that can meet the needs of the nation's workforce. The current situation cannot and will not persist. And indeed, this challenge speaks to another of our aims, which is to simplify how we welcome inward talent and reduce the burden to participate in Ireland's workforce. It needs to be more empathetic, humane, and reactive to Ireland's business needs. At its core, the programme is about building robustness into the fabric of our sector for all its stakeholders. It's about supporting innovation and advocating for an environment where innovation thrives and is justly rewarded. And so finally, I want to express my admiration for and my congratulations to all of the nominees and winners tonight. As a previous winner of one of the awards, I know the impact that this can have both as a company in terms of morale and indeed from a customer perspective. We celebrate your innovation, your excellence, your hard work and ambition. I am honoured to work on our collective behalf over the next 2 years, and I thank you for the confidence you have put in me. And now I believe it is time for dinner. Thank you very much.